Welcome design students. In this video we're going to use a compound object called a loft to create a picture frame. So let's get started. The first thing you need is an image of some profiles of different picture frame types. Here's one, and you can find these all over the place. Here's another one. These things can get really fancy, or they can also be very simple. I've provided two for my students on their school computers on the D drive of their computers. If you don't have access to that, you can just find one and download it yourself. But to begin, we're going to go to the front viewport, and we're going to make a plane. And we're going to go to the Modify tab and zero out by right-clicking on those spinners, zero out the length and width segments. And then we're going to activate the Move tool by pushing W on our keyboard and center this in the world and move it up so it's on the ground. Okay, next I'm going to come over here to the shader settings and turn on default shading. And then we're going to create a material. Let's use a physical material, and we're going to drag off the base color node general bitmap, and we need to go find the image that we downloaded. Mine is in my downloads folder. And then we're going to apply that material to our plane. And select our material and kill the reflections by right-clicking on the spinner next to that setting. Okay, next we need to switch to the top view by pushing T on the keyboard and move our plane back away from the origin. Let's go back to the front view, and we're going to turn off the grid by pushing G on the keyboard. And now what we're going to do is use a line to trace out one of these profiles. So we're going to go to the Create tab, we're going to switch to Shapes right here, we're going to get Line. I think I'm going to do this one here. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to hold down Shift so I can draw a straight line. And I'm going to click every place that there's a point. And where there's a curve, I'm going to let go of Shift and click right in the center of the curve. And I'm not dragging, I'm just clicking and moving my mouse. I move my mouse after I click each time. Then we get back to the beginning and close spline, yes. Then we're going to go to the Modify tab, open up the line object, and select Vertex. So now we can select these vertices and change them. So I'm going to start with this one, and I'm going to right click, and here's what we can change it to right here. We're going to change this from a corner to a Bezier, and that is a curve with two handles, and you can see the handles right here. Then I'm going to move them a little bit. Notice I've got both axes locked in here. Do the same thing with this one. And this one, I'm going to make a Bezier corner. And that splits the two handles. See, they can each move independently because I'm on a little bit of a curve right there. And that's it. I am now done with that one. So I can now select my plane and hide it. And this is what I have. Now to use this, I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and we're going to create a path for it to follow. I'm going to use rectangle. And now we have a path and a shape. So now we're going to create the loft object. So let's go back to the Create tab. We're going to go back to the first creation button here. I'm going to click this pull down list and select Compound Objects. And here's Loft. So make sure you have the path selected, and then you're going to click Loft, and then you're going to turn on Get Shape, and you're going to click on your shape. And that lofts your shape around the path. So let's go to the perspective view and make sure it did it correctly. And your picture will go right here in this slot. That's the idea. And it did, It did it perfectly. Now the loft is its own shape. You can move it away from the path. And this loft object is still joined to the rectangle and the shape. So if I change the length or the width of the rectangle, you can see that it changes the length or the width of the loft. If I come in here and change something about my shape, let's see, I'm going to grab this one. You can see that it changes the shape of the frame. So these two remain joined. If you want them to not be joined anymore, you click the loft, and you can just right-click and convert it to an editable poly. And now it's just like any other polygon. You can still resize it if you want. In this case, I'm going to turn on edge faces. As long as you grab the right vertices, you can still resize it without any problems. To put a picture in your frame, you would just simply create a plane. And create a material and put an image on it. And that's how you create a picture frame. One last thing before we leave. I'm going to delete this for now. Sometimes the shape that you're using here will be backwards, like it'll be facing the wrong direction. Okay? And that may be important. It may not be important. But if it ever happens, what you need to do is delete the loft that you created. I'm going to make this one go backwards just so you can see. And select your path. And you're going to have to convert it to an editable spline if it's not already one. And then you go into the selection mode and you select spline. And then you scroll down here and you find reverse. And you click reverse. Now, if we do it, if we create the loft, you can see that it's different now, like it's backwards. In other words, this piece here is where the picture should be. Right? It sort of flipped the shape here. It didn't do it the same way that it did. So if I want to fix that, like this is not right, if I want to fix that, then I need to delete this loft. Again, select the rectangle, go to spline mode, and reverse it again, and then do it again. And this time you can see it's correct. So occasionally you'll have to do that. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next one.